it could be a bad thing. So modern woman is someone that maybe is not traditional or doesn't have the same traditional aspects of what our grandmothers had. So to the opposite to that would probably be traditional, maybe.
How would
part of culture, but we ain't part of culture. Still making it rain, but a little words fly in soaking. Them man there, some them man there. We say we don't know them. Always chatting about Lengo, roll with the stick and have to outgrow them. You see this life, only get one, don't get twice. Got a value with treated right. Find purpose, meaning fight. That's destiny calling. Ring, 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 ring. We accept it, you all in.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to From Faith to Finding Love.
Faith to Finding Love.
Here with another special episode. I'd love to introduce my my co-host in the building, the one and only.
It's your boy Mickey. What are you telling me? I would love to introduce my co-host.
London Kings in the building.
Are we doing London Kings?
London Kings in the building, live and direct.
Cool. Let's do that.
AKA the Bachelor, Christian Adam in the building.
Hey!
Okay,
Bachelor.
AKA the Bachelor, AKA Christian Adam, AKA London Kings in the building.
Okay.
And then I'll go, Mickey, what episode, what season, what episode are we on?
Alright, so we're in
today?
season 2, episode 5.
And what's the title?
We're talking about modern women.
Modern Women.
And guess
in the
what?
building.
We brought one with us.
I mean, like, Mickey, who have we got in the building?
We got Miss can I call you Miss?
Yeah.
Miss Cassandra Nina.
Tell us a bit about yourself, Miss Cassandra Nina. Who do we have in the building today?
Miss Cassandra. Yeah, Miss Cassandra Nina. I am not a modern woman, or maybe a modern woman. I don't know.
Hey.
I'm not a modern woman because
Alright, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. You just wasted my time.
I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm Cassandra Nina. I am.
What do you like? What do
I do in my
What do
day?
you for a living? What's your passion in life?
Project management as a job.
Yes.
I've got many passions that I love.
Tell us two of your biggest passions in life.
I'm passionate about my family.
Say more.
I'm passionate about creativity. I love creative stuff.
Amen.
Music, performing, all of that. I want to actually step into that more this year.
Come on.
So watch out for that, guys. And yeah. I love things like this. This is nice.
She likes podcasts.
Okay,
She likes to be
podcast.
Yeah, I don't mind podcasting.
She's got a wealth of knowledge, Mickey.
Yeah.
She's here to drop some serious bars for us today.
So Cassandra. So when I say the word modern woman, what does that mean to you?
Yeah.
Like, tell me what that says to you. What are your hang-ups about that statement? Tell me what you think about it.
Okay. I don't think I have a hang up about it. I think it would depend on who it's coming from and what they aim. But modern, it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. So modern woman is someone that maybe is not traditional or doesn't have the same traditional aspects of what our grandmothers had. So to the opposite to that would probably be traditional, maybe.
How would you describe it in your view,
Woman.
a traditional woman? What does that look like? Or what have you seen the characters of a traditional woman be? How would you explain what that is?
I want to say things like cook, clean, but if I'm being honest, I think I'm taking a bit of a lie because I never actually play about with the word traditional or modern.
Yeah.
So, but a traditional woman, I guess cook, clean, all of those things. But I think there's nothing wrong with a modern woman cooking and cleaning either. So,
But in terms of characteristics, not necessarily the domestic side of things. So if you were to say, what are the characteristics of a traditional woman versus the characteristics of a modern woman?
I think traditional women are more home based, whereas you've got the modern women. They are like go-getters. Not that traditional woman couldn't be a go-getter, but business owners. And now it's not about being at home. Usually it was the men with the breadwinners. Now it's that woman could be a breadwinner as well.
So she's more outside. She's outside.
I'm not saying this is what I would say comes to mind. But what I think society thinks. I don't really
So
say.
you wouldn't say that she's outside then?
Well, modern woman.
Yeah, modern woman.
I wouldn't use the word outside.
What would you say?
What do we mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by outside? She's outside.
Are you outside? Are you a modern woman?
I'm not outside.
You're not
I'm
outside.
actually not outside. What does outside mean though? What does outside mean?
I'm asking
What does
you.
outside mean?
I'm asking
Who said outside
you.
then? Who said outside?
Nah, I'm playing, I'm playing.
Modern, I think, I don't want to use the word ambitious because I don't want to take away the fact that I think, but I would say there's just a lot more drive. So maybe doing things that only men would be doing back then, women do as well. So maybe men were owning companies, but women can do that too.
Amen.
100%.
So
100%.
whereas back in the day, it was more the woman was at home, the man was the one who was the breadwinner. And going further, the men were the educated ones, and I'm going back to my grandma's time now in Cameroon. It was like the men were the educated ones. They would stay at home, they would have children, they would look after the children. And they were more nurturers. Not say a modern woman can't be nurturing, but that was predominantly what they cared for. I would say traditionally.
Understood.
I mean, if we talk about personality, Cass, I don't know if this will resonate with you. So people tend to see some of the distinctions between modern women and a traditional woman. Traditional women were typically seen as being a little bit more feminine in the approach. They would expect you as a guy to approach them, have a conversation. Modern women tend to be viewed, in what I've heard, a little bit more forward, potentially have a little bit more masculine traits. Does that resonate with what you've seen, or is that a little bit more far off? In terms of more the personality type.
Can I start off by saying, with that question, it's good. So I actually don't know how men view modern women. Well, with the term, it's the terminology, right? This whole modern women, but with women being more forward, yes, but it depends on your circle as well.
Okay.
So I don't think my circle are forward women, but I know forward women exist. I've also got 3 brothers, so I also know my brothers, and they've got friends and how they perceive being approached by women. There's some men that love that.
There's brothers out here that are really on that, Mickey.
Yeah, there's some brothers out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
They're trying to get proposed to.
Maybe not proposed to.
That's too much.
And it
That's a
works.
bit too-
That's a bit too much.
I mean, I cannot advocate for that. like, no one should be proposing to me.
Okay, but
I will smack the ring out of her.
but we're talking about different personality types here. So a woman that will come to a bar and approach you, I like you, Nikki. What's your phone number? That type of direct.
Now, see, I would call that shooting her shot.
Shooting her shot.
No.
So it's shooting their shot, and so can we also can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you guys like modern women? What are your thoughts on modern women?
All right, so I was raised by my mum, single woman, and for me, she was both a traditional woman and a modern woman because, like, she had to deal with what she was experiencing at that point in time. She had to both be a mum and a dad. She had to make sure food was on the table. She had to make sure all these bills were being paid. She had to be everything. So when you say modern woman to me, I kind of think independent woman. And there's something I like about that. I like a woman that has some drive. I like a woman that wants to not necessarily provide for the family, but wants to create some avenues for herself, create some lanes for herself, and is a kind of a go-getter. So a modern woman is someone that has visions, has goals, has dreams, and is trying to achieve those things. Hopefully that answers the question. Does that not answer the question?
Yeah, it resonates with me.
You know, so I'm a little bit out there because of, where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
If my dad was about, then maybe she would have been a lot more traditional and stayed at home, but she was not given that opportunity to. Am I going a little bit off?
No,
that.
It resonates with me because I came from, like, you asked the same question you asked me, because I came from what I would consider to be a traditional home, right? When I think about modern woman, modern man, traditional woman, traditional man, it's all about the value system. So for me, a traditional man has always been the man that puts his family first in terms of provision for the family. And a modern woman for me is always a woman who prioritizes the family's well-being, husband, wife, and children. She can still have her own business avenues. In fact, I love a woman who actually has a drive to do that, but her first priority is always the family first. What I see in the world that we're in, if we're talking about modern women, is that the priority is not necessarily the family first.
Yeah.
The priority could be her career. The priority could be her business. The priority is really her. So that's the distinction that I see between the modern woman versus the traditional woman. And being a traditional man, I gravitate more towards a traditional woman because her priority first is the family. That's the distinction that I see between the two.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like that.
Oh gosh!
So we've thrown it out there. We're totally all turned over the table.
So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna come back to you, Christian. I'm gonna forget. So with Mickey, it's also that okay. You admire what your mom did because she had to do it.
Yeah.
So you like hybrid. It's a bit of a, but then you wouldn't want. No, actually, I'm not saying what you wouldn't, what you wouldn't want. But then would you want a woman that had all those qualities, but it was now above what you wanted to do in the house? So, for example, she was able to still have her own avenues, still be a go-getter. Because I think there's a lot that comes with someone being a go-getter within a marriage as well. I've never been married, but would it then? So how does vision work in this stance? How would it?
So
work?
The way I see vision in my household, I would have a vision. My wife, in a sense, being a traditionalist and a modern woman, would support that vision. So she would also have her vision. Her vision now falls under submission to my vision. So we're both aiming for both visions to be accomplished and to flourish for our family's sake, if that makes sense, kind of thing. So it's a tradition.
So
The household.
modern woman, because I really want to get. I think the terminologies, because it doesn't sound. So is modern woman being someone that isn't just about being at home? Are you guys considering modern women people that have drive? Because that's almost what it sounds like.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what
Because that sounds like a good woman. Like the woman you're describing, someone that's
Yeah, but
brilliant.
there's not many of those out there. I think the modern woman has a negative connotation to it because it's about, well, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, they're about themselves.
Thank you.
They're about providing for themselves, doing for themselves, everything for themselves. It's the independent woman that's focused solely on hers and not necessarily building a family, not necessarily submitting to marriage or to a man, or to a man that's submitted under God, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So good women, they are out there that are modernized, they are out there, but there's this trope right now in society that it's all about the woman just doing her thing, growing her vision, growing her account, going after her career goals, and not necessarily wanting to commit to a man or commit to building something with a man, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So that makes complete sense.
Cool.
To myself, prior to a woman being in a relationship, right? So I'm going to go back to what you said actually. So you mentioned that in your household you come from the traditional side of things where your mum puts family first. But prior to being married, what is a woman meant to focus on? Because it's good to focus on family within a marriage. Prior to getting into a marriage, I do believe in you should be becoming better, right? But I do think it's important to be educating yourself as a woman and to be maximizing on your goals and also maximizing who you are as a person so that when you get with somebody then you can now merge that together. But as a woman, it's also us to do due diligence to be able to submit to a man. So I think I feel like what is happening is with men, they're being selective with what they like within a modern woman. That's why I really the whole term.
So say more on that.
So for example, when you spoke about Mickey spoke about someone approaching him at the bar, and you saw it as shooting her shop.
Shooting her shop.
Which is not negative, right?
I wouldn't see it as negative.
But that's a modern woman. And so it's almost like men are selective with what they will accept and won't accept. But you will accept that because it feels nice. It's nice. That's a good part of being a modern woman. Whereas back in the day, it's like, no. A man is the one that approaches a woman.
Yeah.
Right. I personally think it should be the man approaching the woman.
Yeah.
Still.
That's the default for me.
And I think, even though it is okay for women to approach men, I think, and I've seen it work sometimes where women have approached men, they've got married and everything. But I think protecting yourself, I think men are hunters, men should be the one to do it.
Yeah,
because a man at the same time, as a woman, like a woman, okay, I know you're Christians, right? So this shouldn't be the way, like men think like, okay, this is easy, I got this. But most times if a woman is approaching, that's easy meat. And I don't even mean that in a sexual manner. It's just easy. It's easy to have them as a placeholder. She's shown and put herself forward as someone that is available.
Yeah.
It should be the man that is trying to get you.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I know many people can think differently. There's nothing wrong with women. You can position yourself, but going to shoot your shot with a guy, I don't know.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit much. I mean, that's exactly what I would say to my daughter. Like, there's no way you just put it out there.
Let them come for you.
Don't be a pick me. Like, you know, well,
yeah. I think we really been breaking this down, Nikki. I think it's probably, should we start diving into some of the questions? So we might touch on this already. It's the first question on here. It actually says that this episode will be discussing the differences between modern women. I feel like I have to read this, right? The executive producer put that on here, and I didn't read it yet, right? So we'll be discussing the differences between our modern women versus our mothers, acknowledging the challenges and struggles on both sides. So, Miss Cassandra Nina, welcome to the podcast. That little introduction was beautiful.
So tell us about
it. See when she took over the interview and run her own thing. So, this question really is about comparison, Cassie. So, the question is it a fair comparison trying to compare modern women to our moms? Right, given that it was a different time and it was a different era. So I think really the spirit of this question to me, as I understand it, is thinking back to our mothers, grandmothers 40, 50 years ago, right? You know, the type of women that they were, the type of women that they had to be for their husbands. Is it fair for us in the year 2024 to expect women to have the same type of values, the same type of skill sets, etc., to the women 30, 40 years ago? It was a different time for them. How do we manage that balance from your personal experience?
I think the values can stay the same, yes.
Okay, say more.
Skill set can be different. We live in a different time. We've got things at our fingertips. You don't have to go to a library to get information. You can literally go on your phone.
Yes.
So skill set is different. The speed in which you can get things is different. But values can always stay the same. That doesn't need to change, which is family, respecting your husband, being a mother to your children, making sure that you care for your family. But there's nothing wrong with that. So the values can definitely stay the same.
It's just the skill sets and...
When you say skill set, as in, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, so I think about the Proverbs 31 woman, right? Every man wants that Proverbs 31 woman, right? She was really a wife, a homemaker, but the Bible says that she was out there also doing business on the side, right? That to me was, because I saw my mother do that. She raises us at home, but she was doing business on the side. So she really had those types of skill sets, but the skill sets were aimed towards the betterment of the family. She had drive, but it was for the family. But as Mickey was saying, I think some time ago, that it seems to be that is more in the modern era. It seems to be gauged more at the independence and how I can get for myself. So that's pretty much, I think the skill sets are there, but it's being pointed in different directions.
So I think that's within different contexts though, personally, right? So it's being driven in a way where it's for me when you're single. And when you're in a relationship or married, it shouldn't be that.
Okay.
If that's what's going on now, that's a shame. It's because then I don't even know how the marriage will function, where it's a woman being all about me. So I think perhaps, yes, when you're single, it's changed, where I think back in the day it was more that you were working towards wanting to become a wife Maybe that's a better way to describe it. And I even think still now culturally. So I originate from Cameroon, right? And I would say
Cameroon in the building.
But I have many Nigerians. Let's leave that. That's okay.
I heard one of them is trying to fight our boy Joshua. You know,
is it
some Cameroonian guy? I don't know who he is.
Okay, we're doing that. We're doing that later.
Gally will deal with that later. I need Gally to do his thing. I will say nothing.
It's only me.
I'm outnumbered here.
It's only me if you're watching this. We have a debate about your boy Ngannou and my boy Joshua.
We don't talk, we just do.
A little sidetrack over there.
Yeah, so, oh gosh, what was that? So we did get sidetracked.
You were saying you were from Cameroon.
From Cameroon, right. And I've got friends that are Nigerian. So what I realised, so this isn't even to do with traditional, like it's to do with culture. So friends at 18, they're already talking about getting married. And I was so like, huh? Getting married to who? Like, how come you're so obsessed with wanting to get married, but there's no man around? Like, I just didn't get it. And they would already plan the whole, like they had the wedding day planned out. So as you grow, you see that they're more in love with the idea of marriage and not marriage per se. I believe that still happens now, but people have evolved. So there is a lot more like, okay, I'm an ambitious person, I still want to do my business, etc., etc. And I think back then, there was more to marriage. And now I think people are more excited about having a ring and just being able to have a ring. But it's not really about the wedding.
So it's more about the status symbol of marriage than it is about the actual marriage.
And I think it's a cultural thing. So not so much so from when I wasn't, not in a bad way, I think it's for my Nigerian friends, because I've got Bajans, I've got other friends. It was predominantly my Nigerian friends. I would never hear it. Like 18 and 19 is such a, I don't want to say young age. And there's nothing wrong with having that as a goal. Target. But I do think there is if it's for the wrong reasons. Yeah. So I think it's important to want to cultivate relationships are important, so it's important to want to have a family, children, and all that's really important. But I question if that's what is being thought about when people talk about marriage and wedding, or is it to do with status? So it's to what is the reasoning behind all that?
It's what they're being taught, though, isn't it? Like, so it's what their parents or someone in their family or in their close circle has like pushed on them, that this is what you should be aiming for. But as you said, like, what happened to building yourself up? What happened to learning who you are? What happened to learning how to become a wife? Picking up some books and then preparing yourself for that time instead of just making marriage the extreme goal. Like,
and then it becomes a pressure.
Then there's
then when it becomes a pressure, then you might find yourself going into that for all the wrong reasons and maybe picking wrong partners. I mean, it could, all of those things happen, and sometimes you've got to look at the circumstances to why that happened and the support that you were given. So I think all of that plays a role into it. However, there is nothing wrong with getting married young, as long as it's for the right reason. And it's, I think, educating women shouldn't see submission as a bad thing. So there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think our parents saw that as a bad thing, and I don't think everyone sees it as a bad thing. So in regards to getting married and not wanting to submit, I think those two it doesn't merge. And I think submission might have a negative connotation, but it doesn't need to.
It has.
And I think many women do want to submit. I actually believe that. And that's why I think when you see a woman that gets into a relationship with a man that she doesn't respect, she will never submit. I don't care how, so you can get in a relationship, but if you see relationships where there's a woman and there's a man, and she's talking anyhow to the guy and whatnot, I doubt it will last. Me personally, it's only a matter of time. She doesn't respect you. And that same woman does know how to respect. It's just she doesn't respect you. She might be rude. You have some women that are just rude people in general. You could feisty, right? And if they respect you, they will listen to you and they will try their best to learn, to try and change. You don't just change overnight. If you respect someone, it's just like, I respect my dad. When I was young, I respected my dad. So he teaches you to respect other people. Still respect him now. But it also goes down to if you're not taught to respect, you won't respect. But then there's some people you just respect in school. There were the teachers that you talk in class, and there were teachers that you know not to talk in class. It's not that you didn't know how to talk, keep quiet. It's that you just didn't respect one. You respected one over the other. Same thing with men and women. I think there are men that you can respect differently. That's
Mickey,
what I think.
it's getting deep now. We got to get into the second one. Yeah, there's a lot of gems of it in what Cassie just covered.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple
That's
of
me
questions
personally.
here.
Like, someone be like, oh no, I respect, but it just doesn't. It's very weird. When I see a woman overpowering a man, it's strange. It's strange to me.
And a lot of people.
And when you say overpowering a man, what do you mean?
It's very obvious. I don't even think it's difficult. You can tell by the way she talks to him, you know, and you can tell by the way he acts or reacts. And he's left her to just to run riot. Like women know how to respect men. And if you've got a woman that just talks to you anyhow, or she doesn't look at the surroundings and she doesn't think about, I don't want to use the word embarrassing, but you just know they just feel like it's their way or the highway. That's not respectful. True respect doesn't do that. So you always take into consideration the other person as well. If there's someone that's just like, it's my way or whatever, or he can walk or he can back, that's not respectful. So she doesn't respect you.
But isn't that seen as a modern woman or a boss?
No, it's a disrespectful woman.
It's just a disrespectful woman.
Yeah.
Because not everybody would accept what you've just said. Like, you know, they would say that this woman or this modern woman has, qualities that she requires before she can actually submit or respect the man.
Quality. So you don't need to be in a relationship with that person. So I think being in a relationship, as humans, we should all respect each other, right? I think being in a relationship though requires certain things just for you to respect this person as your partner. So it could be that I just don't believe you could lead me. And that's fine, but then if I don't believe that, I'm not going to respect your decision.
Just come out.
It doesn't make me a bad person. I just won't respect your decisions. So you could say something and I will still really want to do what I want to do. That's not healthy. I'm not a bad person, but that's just the truth of the matter. And I think it's the truth for many things. So it becomes difficult for you to respect someone if you don't trust them as a person. And trusting them, I'm not talking about cheating, I'm trusting about your decision making, your temperament, your ability to make good decisions. If I don't trust
your
that, I can't
competency.
respect you. Yeah.
That's deep.
It doesn't mean I will be, it doesn't mean I'm disrespectful. I just won't be able to put respect.
You're not hearing what I'm saying, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Quickly, family, because I know that's a big one for you. Like the family unit. Touch on the family unit in modern times and what that now looks like. What is the family unit supposed to be right now, and where is it going right now? Is it eroding because of what we've been taught, how we kind of not see traditional life? What am I even talking about right now?
Eroding. So the family unit.
Yeah, but you're talking about is it a difference between the family
Just
unit?
cut this bit out. So let's just talk about family.
Question.
No, because I want to go into that question.
Okay. Yeah. What's that your question?
No, because this is touching on the wife having a family as the ideal standard. So what I was first trying to lay out was
the groundwork on
the groundwork.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we wanted to lead into what family was, and what family meant to you, kind of thing, and how you saw family. So, so basically, that's the question.
Okay.
How do you see family at the minute? What does family mean to you?
You're gonna have Cassie talking for 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. What does family mean to me? Family means everything
Come
to
on,
me. I really love family. Like that's where you get your beginning of life, where you think, the way you think, your mindset comes from family. Those are your primary connectors, the people you first interact with. So family is everything. Family is important. That's my thought on family. A very close relationship with my parents and my siblings. Brilliant. I respect my parents a lot. I'm grateful for them every single day. I'm very, very grateful for my family. Love my siblings, and I think family is important.
Would you say you're a traditional woman or you're a modern woman? Because these are things that you learn from family, isn't it?
So I come from a split family. I come from a split family, traditional. So we have to go back again with what traditional is, right, and how everyone views it. So yes, I would say there's a lot, as in the man being the head of the family home, absolutely. As in the man having the final say, and then like people come from you in front of the children, yes. And there's some things that I think are really important, and something I saw with my parents, right? If there's a dispute, is not to have that in front of the children. I know that no one's perfect, so things can happen, but I think you set a standard for children with how parents operate, right? So I do think one thing I did like is that my mum and my stepmom, it's like they put my dad was on a pedestal. When I say a pedestal, not as in he can't make a mistake, but there's a certain respect that you give to the man of the house, rightfully so. And we also have respect for our mums, but it's also like, okay, like, have you checked with your dad as well, or have you, like, it can't just be, I don't ever agree where it's just that mum has the final say. And this happens where you see a child is fine to just go to the mother because they really just don't think dad has the real say. I don't think that's healthy.
Happens a lot.
I think it should be that there is a certain reverence that is had for the father, the man of the house. We had that in my household and it was great. And it's also a covering. And then on top of that is almost, I don't know, there's a confidence it gives you as well. A mum can't do what a dad can, and it's vice versa. So there's nothing wrong with it. Women are nurturers, right? And that's what it's great for women to do that. I do understand that if the dynamics are unfortunate and you have to be a single mum at home, then you need to navigate that.
That leads me on to my question. From your experiences, do you think modern women still believe in being a wife and having a family as the ideal standard, just as our mothers did? So a modern woman, do they now see that family setup, that family dynamic as a man being the lead, and they, playing a role in that family setup? Does that make sense to them? Is that what they aim for?
I think they're different people, right? So yeah, you have some modern women that do want that, and you've got some that just don't even want a dad. It's only recent I came across this terminology called single baby mother by choice, something like that. So that's a real thing where they go, you get the sperm of the guy and you're just a single mother by choice. So times have changed definitely a lot, but I think you can still be a modern woman. So this is someone that wants to have their own business, right? I'm saying that kind of thing, and still want to have a family, have children, and respect. I think if you've got people, I think we say a lot of things and we don't realize what they mean till you're in it, right? So you could be somebody that says, okay, I want and I even hate this terminology, alpha male and all that. I want an alpha male till you get into a relationship and you don't really, or you think you do, but then you still want to overstep so there's a lot of things we say and it all sounds nice and cute till you get into that.
Till you get into it.
So.
And then, sorry, on the whole modern women and marriage and family and all of that, is it the fact that they just don't want to give up control? Because that's the fear, isn't it? Of wanting to submit to someone and have someone have the final say, like a man have the final say and lead the house. Is it the fact that they just don't want to lead control for some women that don't want to submit to a man?
It could be their background as well. So I think there's also different layers as to why women do certain things or etc. Everyone's different. So it could be control, but I think the foundation of that could also be fear. It could also be insecurity. You don't really know someone's background. So if you're in a relationship and you think, if I show myself more vulnerable, it makes me look weak as a person. So therefore I'm not going to do any of that. Or it could also be you're just used to being somebody that's in control and you've not met someone that you feel like you can relax and allow them to take the lead. There's also that. So I think it depends on the person, it depends on their background, it depends on the situation.
Yeah, there's a whole lot there.
It's powerful.
That's a powerful.
Mickey, we're coming up to, producer just gave me a little hands up, which means we probably get a last question to get in before we run out of time. So I'm going to run this question through and then we see how we do for time. Cassie, what would you say, how important was your dad in your life growing up in terms of just the impact he had on you personally, and what would you say your relationship with him was like as you were growing up?
Okay, so my dad is my best friend. No, my dad is really, and my mom too. I don't want my mom to see this too. My dad is. I am a daddy's girl to the core.
Yes.
My dad
that with full chest.
Yeah, I'm a daddy. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a daddy's girl. Like I speak about him all the time. I'm very proud of my dad. I'm very grateful. My dad's not perfect by any means, and this is something he showed. But something I like about my dad is he's not someone that just talks. He used to walk the walk, very close, and a disciplinarian, very, very strict, but extremely loving. So I wasn't allowed to do sleepovers. You know, we had time that we had to do homework. It was when my dad was eating and would come and take his plate. That came more from my stepmom's training as well, like, and my mum, like, you know. But he's so fun. Daddy's so fun, but so strict as well. But he puts really balanced both, because there's nothing wrong with being a disciplinarian if you love someone and you're doing something out of love. And he would always talk. He's very strong in communication. But always telling me, like, I don't think there's a day that's gone where my dad doesn't say I love you. And he used to make me feel like I was invincible. So before I even touched school, I thought I could do anything. You know, so he really put that in us, like, you can do anything you want, Mum. He's really like and if I did something well, Dad would applaud it. So the first story I remember, and I always tell people this story, I was, my brother and I went to school, we would bring our own packed lunch, and Jean-Louis forgot his drink. So, and Dad forgot to bring it for him. So when Dad was like, oh, I forgot his drink and we're coming back, I was like, oh, Dad, you know, I gave him mine. And the way Dad clapped for me, he's like, oh, good girl, Mummy, you cared for your brother. I was really young, I think I was 9, but because he did that, it made me want to do more of that. I was like, is this the reaction I get? And then he would always tell me, your brother is your best friend. You don't let someone play with them, etc. And I used to think, oh, I don't want to go with him. But everything he put, like, he would say, that's who you roll with, that's your best friend. He didn't use the word roll with, but that's your best friend. It used to be annoying then, but up until today, Jean-Louis is one of my best friends. Like, we could go to the same party, we share the same friends, that I believe comes from Daddy. Like, I really do believe that comes from him. Yeah.
Let me tie that into, because to tie into that, I wanted you to set the scene about Dad first, right? And then tie into this question. How was the relationship you had with your dad, how has it impacted your relationships with men in general? Has there been a situation, do you often find yourself comparing the people that might have been in your past and dated?
All the time. All the time.
How has that been?
I think it's got its pros and cons, because there's no one that's your dad.
No.
Right? So, and I think that's taken a lot of maturity to see, but it set a good standard. And also there's confidence. I'm not perfect by any means, but so I don't want people to think like, I'll date you, what are you talking about? But no, the real truth.
If you want to date Cassie.
If you want to date me, don't say that. No, don't be getting away. They'll definitely tell you I'm not perfect. However, there is a standard where I was a daddy's girl, so there were some things that I just naturally, I don't know, expected, but then at the same time, I've never agreed. I can't agree with all of this thing with men aren't, like, men are to be respected. Men, like, I just don't get when they do all of this talk about men this, men that. So I love men, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I've got 3 brothers, great relationship, dad, great relationship.
Were any of your partners in the past frustrated with the standard that was set with your dad and maybe they couldn't potentially meet it?
I think all the time. I think I've matured as a person. So I think if you go through all have different things to say. But I do think that was something that did come up. All of them, you know about my dad. All of them. They know the standard, that they know how I see my dad and everything. So yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. We just had to end up on a personal. Mandem. You got up the standards. This has been another powerful.
It's been powerful. In fact, Cassandra, before you leave, before we say goodbye, how can people find you?
Yeah. Plug.
Cassandra Nina on Instagram.
Come on.
And yeah.
Before, in addition to the plug, have you got any interesting projects coming up in the next, the next few months, the next year, anything that's exciting in your life?
Definitely not imminently, but probably in the 6 months, a year's time, a podcast as well.
Around
family,
and we're gonna be invited
and dynamics. 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, you have to put that one in there. Recorded, like.
This is why I love my co-host. He's just switched on. Come on. Yeah. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us, ladies and gentlemen.
Cassandra Nina, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, we outside.
Part of the culture, but we ain't part of the culture. Still making it rain, but a little words fly in soaking. Them man there, some them man there. We say we don't know them. Always chatting about Lengo, roll with the stick and have to outgrow them. You see this life, only get one, don't get twice. Can't evaluate treated right. Find purpose, meaning, fight.